Alright guys, so in this video I wanted to talk about the liver. So your liver would be located, if I just draw like person right here. It's not a great drawing, but here we go, kind of, okay. Alright, so this would be the torso. Your liver would be located somewhere around here. That's just sort of to give you an idea. So you have one liver. If you want a better representation of where the liver is, because this is not a great drawing, this is just to give you an idea of like sort of where the liver is. But if you want to know where it actually is, like accurately represented, you can look up liver. And go to images, and you should be able to find some images on the liver in the human body. But anyways, this is the liver, and your liver is going to do a variety of functions. So the first function I want to talk about is the fact that it is the function produces proteins. It produces proteins. Produces proteins. Okay. And it's going to produce a variety of proteins with different functions. So I won't go into detail about those proteins or their functions. But it does produce proteins that are important for your well-being. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that it stores vitamins and also can change them into different things. So it can store vitamins. It stores vitamins. First of all, it stores vitamins. Right? And it can also change vitamins, change their chemical form. So change vitamins. Can change vitamins. So an example of this would be vitamin D3. So it changes vitamin D3. This is just an example. So vitamin D3. It changes vitamin D3 into 25, and I'll just write it down here. It's a hydrox, cholesterol, cholesterol. Okay. Let me just make sure I spelled that correctly. I did not spell that correctly. Cholecalciferol. Okay. So cholecalciferol. It's going to convert vitamin D3 into 25 hydroxycholecalciferol. Okay. So you might recognize this. You might. It's a pretty long word, so you might not. But our kidneys actually convert this into another form, and that form is going to be, well, I talk about the function of that later in the kidney video, but it converts this form into another form, and I talk about why that's important in the kidney video. So that's why this process is important, because it converts vitamin D3 into 25 hydroxycholecalciferol, and that way that hydroxycholecalciferol cholecalciferol can be converted in the kidney. Okay, so next I want to talk about the liver's function. Another one of the liver's functions is it degrades drugs and toxins. Okay. So you can imagine why that would be important, because, well, it can be important in some cases. So, like, for example, if you had a toxin, you would want to get rid of that. So the next function I want to talk about is bile production. So, bile production. Now, this is important for our digestive system. So, bile production. The liver is going to produce bile. Okay. And then this bile is going to move to your gallbladder. So the bile. And I won't go into detail about like how it moves to the gallbladder or anything, just because I'll talk about that in the digestive system videos. But so it's going to move to the gallbladder, and then from the gallbladder, which is basically the storage site for bile, it's going to move to your duodenum. So the bile is going to move to your gallbladder where it's going to be stored, and then when you need the bile, the gallbladder is going to release the bile into the duodenum. Okay, and your duodenum is just part of your intestines. It's part of your small intestine, so that's where your food gets digested. And this bile is going to aid in digestion, so it's going to help. It's going to help digest food, or it's going to help digest, like in your small intestine. Okay, so just to recap, the bile is produced in the liver, and then from the liver, it is going to be moved to the gallbladder where it's stored, and then that gallbladder is just going to hold that bile, and then when the bile is needed, it will be released into the duodenum, which is part of your intestines, and that bile is going to help in digesting in your small intestine or in your intestines. Okay. The next function I want to talk about is its endocrine function. So it doesn't. Its endocrine function is it modifies or I guess you could say you could just say it changes the function of some hormones. Oh, sorry. Actually, I should also say, just of some hormones. So some hormones, okay. Some hormones are going to be modified or changed by the liver in some way, and that will result in a change of function of that hormone. So basically, the liver can cause certain hormones to change in some way so that their function is different in some way. So it could be their function is just amplified, or it could be their function is just different. So it might directly change that. So maybe let's say hormone W hormone W would be changed to hormone W prime because of something that the liver did. So maybe it was maybe the liver just changed it directly, or maybe it produced something that resulted. Okay, and okay, so yeah, so it can change the function of some hormones, like in certain cases. So just for some hormones, it also degrades insulin and glucagon. Okay, so that's another, and glucagon. So that's another function. And we'll talk about insulin and glucagon more in the future. The next function that I want to talk about is the supply. Okay, let's write supply, storage, metabolism, and excretion of iron and copper. Okay. And I'm not going to talk about this in detail in this video, but next video I will. So, because this is just an overview of all of the functions. Next video I'll just talk about the supply, storage, metabolism, and excretion of iron and copper by the liver. Okay. The liver also stores carbohydrates and fats. Okay. And it stores carbohydrates and fats as glycogen. Lipoproteins. And triglycerides. Okay. Yeah, so, but basically the gist of it is it stores carbohydrates and fats. And what it also, when there is a need for a certain molecule, or there's a need for proteins to be broken down, then the liver will take proteins out of the bloodstream, and it will break these proteins down, or use them for other molecules. So in the case that you need to break down proteins and use them for other molecules, the liver will do that. And we can sort of just think of one of the liver's functions as metabolism. Okay. So a few of the examples we've already gone through are examples of it performing metabolism, but I just want to write metabolism because that's a big function of the liver. And metabolism is achieved by just catabolism and anabolism, which is the breaking down of molecules and the building up of molecules. So it does both. And some of these past examples are examples of this. But I just wanted to write metabolism because this is a large function. This is sort of what this is one of the big things that the liver is known for, is metabolism. So even though I wrote some of the examples already, I just wanted to write metabolism because that is one of the big things the liver is known for. Okay, so these are some of the functions of the liver. Thank you.